Introduction. Sense and nonsense in sexuality.
On the lark-eaten crust of a trashy hot spring, lovers settle the bleeding margins of decorous codices, the furred outskirts where libido turns the other body into something that speaks to and from my intention. In this place, girls and boys chase cheese down a slope and resolve in a dripping morass, the warming glare of which severs the beloved from all in life that she does and says, which has nothing to do with me, destining to genital contact even the scattering sunlight and shadows.
1. The erotic appropriation of time. Pervert is an assignation with death because I pine for the mortal. I risk abjection and invest all my brazenness in it. In time, the pervert iambic not. I prepare all his limbs and the line of dynamic tension frayed up and down the spine, severing it, spraying sordid grease, kneading it romantically. He does this to himself. The endless jerk, tiptoeing toward the bodies of others, normally appear to me as sustaining postures, elaborating positions, gaits and gestures, reaching for objectives as my extremely gory core pose, having ceased to burp, slick, and pontificate during the season finale of Concupiscent Dad, so appears to them. Look,
said the judge.
What would you have us do when the counsel for the defense tells us that there's a word in the book he wouldn't even repeat out loud? If he can't bring himself to say something in front of a bench of hardened old men, we certainly aren't going to say that it's fit for everyone to read.
The older empiricism has sought to explain its positions and movements taxonomically, so that Judge Learned Hand doesn't have to bring himself to stay, but only has to bring himself to say, fucking is a galactic noun. E.g., our fetal undergrads are sprouting monstrous extremities. E.g., wieners shoot for the black moon beyond which begins an awfully kaleidoscopic existence. E.g., text redemption 2 times to poop yourself back up to St. Sebastian. The practice of this separation is as old as metaphysics. Indeed, it is metaphysics.
2. The intentional organism.
Significance. Nothing but determination. Determination, which is shimmering of nothingness, originates in consciousness, which is itself pure aiming at being, which ceaselessly takes a distance from all being. A Mongo version of virginal vision unscud ceaselessly takes a distance from all being. A Mongo version of virginal vision unscud pure fallacy ruddiness. It is the way the body positions itself before its field and its tasks. Love letters hum and F a rippling hatchback, skirting the ever-only presumptive phenomenal reality as alert and red baby skin rejoinder avec an ableist maniac. Natally canceling time, top, the lol of lingo mongers. Right here, right now, bust a deep DP spontaneously cathecting a madrigal 4th dimension. At 4 hours, 55 minutes, 3 seconds, model rhythmically bumps shoulders, swollen dugs shake,
Pendular sensation in model skin is feeling of how the shaking looks.
Oi, the welling moisture in which every eye,
Washing over the scene.
rapid nips, globule forms,
On a bodying off-white position.
not station, positions.
Oneself at a desk.
One's legs lick woolen,
Aiming at being right on.
among the glances of others,
Coordinate T and moment P.
a sensible substance making itself exemplar.
3. Sensuous sense.
Adam practices orgasm. He is 7 feet tall. In the shower, the loaf shower, it is the position, the sensuous position, in which Adam produces lemons. This fits within the history of painting and dance, where the representation of a scowl between a man-born woman is everywhere, even in geometry. Texas Brute wishes otherwise. Mr. Brute moves the D in dancer to the N, making answered, and can't seem to find a way back. The more erotic material, as for say, and spotty puss, is mixed up altogether, forming configurations such as putty tips, pop soppy toss-up soy to pist, and sometimes broken down so entirely as to create tones, beeps, and even patterns, horizons, and dimensions. Toilet worms, or as to say in a louder voice, toilet worms. They exist and we portend. Reality is, for us, always in suspense, projected just beyond the all-star break. Take for as is and is for the word accordion. There are lurid moments, and there is horseshit. God, a sphere, orgasms and shimmering foibles. For that, insofar as say, and if so, and as then, the debt owed is as followed. A trip to the laundromat.
4. Erotic sense.
This has nothing to do with me or my G apparatus. The use of smiley faces to evoke a sense of genital pride is a sign of intelligence. Memento mori inflatables of loved ones lost to cancer are okay to be released into the sky, too, though the angles may catch in gears or come in contact with shadows. What is libidinous about all this exists for, or in some cases, snow adheres to a hot body. The hotter the better, especially if the bod belongs to a diver.
Handwritten in the margin.
This has nothing to do with me or my lengthy pharynx. Of all the does, has, says, and that's, I prefer its. I'm fine with just cutting it right fucking off too, I don't care.
5. The libidinous intention.
The human warbler begins to ejaculate when 2 cows making one remarkable big boy. This is called re-traumatization. 6. Max Stander builds a big wall.
This report details how surveillance is used to get an objective look at a person's physical shape, so as to determine the veracity of personal injury claims. Advancements in the art of surveillance have enabled us to catch claimants in the act of grossly simulating abject disfiguration.
Case number 1.
Don Phelps has been a white-collar worker in Chicago for 6 years before he is rear-ended. He alleges he cannot put arm through the right sleeve of shirt before placing garment on left
Unaffected
arm. A surveillance team is flown to look at him in Idaho. They record Mr. Phelps putting on shirt all day long, gently and naturally in the summer heat. At one point in the filming, Phelps is seen hoisting a large-sized log to a position fully above his head. A hawk moth flies past, tracking an airborne fragrance trail to a clump of columbine blooms. It drinks with a tongue longer than its body. For some time after the body rots, the genitals can function as long as there is still gas. Some gases are so heavy, you can scoop it in your hand, put it back where it came from. The soles of the feet have testicles too. Often the wound releases sweat. Other times it releases staples.
and in it a broken hand.
Over the tanky, botched
With
jaw,
termites
jerking
all
a
over
shin
it.
splint and spit carpet
just a
maculation,
boring
a
beheading.
rotating
So,
genital
The
display with
auto-particulate.
dangling
Just the
Tourette's,
mood.
And a
anti-peeled
palm-olive
tomato
oil
vat encrusted label,
on the rattan
as
scalp,
well as a
replete
well
with
of
herrings,
split poo
into a bench
and
of hardened
40
old men.
vermilion
Tortuga
creamies.
this, Tuga this, riff.
Case number 2.
Max Standard leaves at 7:30 a.m., dressed in a white shirt and his Sunday best slacks. He is followed to a dilapidated building just south of Chicago's Greektown. For the entire day, after changing his clothes, he builds a brick wall, in the course of which he carries 10 bricks at a time, ascending and descending ladders, and hauling buckets of cement, conducting all of these activities with no obvious disability or impairment. The next day, our surveillance team drives to the building once again and finds Max Stander already there, starting a new wall. The team then gets running and elects to flank the well-built claimant. One documentarian pointedly advances, markedly faints, and breaks his eyes. Impossible moments and stretched out behinds. This is Ute, our fresh egg.
Case number 3.
MMF ATM Jazz Great Sensational Stabs loses his mind when the gates fall right on his face. $400,000.50 was rewarded for President's Day.
The
Melankumani people who controlled the loops served heavy cream under the bedspread through the steeple and out of the leg through which one puts their pants were given 2.5 Gothic rips. Fortunately, advancements in excreting that which was pumped into you after a while produced a rather unmotherly picture of a lot of stuffing being slammed between 2 vintage oak doors. Today, you can find Vikings and so much more on the World Wide Web. He crawled inside of her from the rear
and exploded.
And now, if you say something, see something. A masterclass in ESL/PERV number 1.
Manger. In this course, we will learn how to the mangler.
Dog matter immersed in dough, lodged in the patrix, we here make grave gray. Error. Papa poot. Petitu. Petitu. Fufugudi. Fufusaza. Momoyayani. Uku uku uku. Iki iku uku. Iki papa poop. Ditu ogo ugu. Di uku uku pako. Guku bukiku. Bukiku faku. Pa uk aku gugu pato tico. Forcray.
Breaks are recommended every 1.5 hours.
Begin small, say what you see. Bug-eyed.
Belly-breasted.
The use of audio-visual aids and stupid lamps in no way reflect the opinions of the authors or their manglers.
Manglers.
Please refer to the mangler
Mangler.
for further questions to be asked to victims of the surf in the pond or tains where there should have been 2 large grooms. Foot design in the index. Failure to hold breath. Break raisins with my dot. Not enough dot data in the fact phase. Not enough cold to stiffen the nip, yet not enough warmth to soften it. Torque, priggish, O. Retirees plus jingle bells drinking the foam from a faucet.
Dr. Pip slips up.
Recommended equipment for more tame. Footnote 1, 10. Items a nursing mother needs. breastfeeding, breast bags, milk bags, bottle pump, nursery
Microphone.
breast pillow, hands bra, washable hand pads, breast pan, bottle breast collector.
Bone toy.
There was once a little boy named Daniel, a demon. He fashioned
Ice
matches out
water
of
for
pine wood and forest
instructors.
sound in the village and impregnated them with sulfur.
My
he burnt
lotus.
down the forest in the village so that everyone died. The villagers held them
Your
responsible,
re-entry.
aloft like a king in a palanquin,
and
diaper bag, handset, breast paddle, pump paddle bag.
Horizons and dimensions.
This should take 16 weeks. Allow for braces to set.
Conclusion? The manger is here to stay. Fat, 39%.
Scat naturalization. An instructional guide to touching the top of the inside of my superstar. By I. Mangar.
3. Miscellaneous horrible events by 3. Multiple partner pat. 3. Peer-to-peer PP. A. Changing the diaper of the self. X. Death and dying. A. Just the word dingus. Shotgun A. Polish for Butte. An Irishman on a boat with a shotgun A. The manager's recent horns.
My 13-year-old husband eats shit.
While my 13-year-old husband pushed his knob through his own urn. Her, he said, then shook it. No Momo, no Lardy. Just fusings where defusing should have been.
Student puts a finger. Break. Yellow, sir.
Yellow, sir, mango,
Dog,
turtle,
snake,
dog,
knee,
sword,
spin,
rifle.
tortuga,
I
this
finger now,
rifle, I
now,
finger
I
now,
feel
and now as it passes a floaty old tongue and a puff on my roof. Exclamation point, too much chimpanzee, C2 point, discharge, spawn an excrement, a series of thuds.
Seven. The intensive zone.
To fix the absent organ, i.e. the cork, do not feed the Siamese phantasms who grace the contours of perception with bottom pleasure. Septic is the lily of the field, and the field is a stuttering nurse. Like the sound of Victorian automata or whales, Fleischmann's active dry yeast becomes hallucinatory and divine when invested in the anus. There is, or could be, so to be, an affect, slowly fingering through the pages of a boner coloring book. Hoo-wah, mimosas. You come on count of 3, okay? This then recalls, as is the case of the megapedo, case number 5, who, lacking the father, has gone mad and become a scribe. Like being hit upon the side of the head with a sock filled with wet sand, the grass is always plumper. Prayer hands, the simple life.
This one is called Nuns Are So Dumbs.
Apostrophe S.
The 3 parts of the phrenis are the throttle, the pencus, and the teeny paper root. When Uncle Pa has been soldering his creases, let him peg. God let him peg. What the rooster wiped from front to back to front to taint to Burbank, California, a mutant is a chode with a taint no greater than a chimba, no less than one of those things in a circus. I lay the ghoul on a cot, the ghoul is cool. In its simplest form, the ghoul is clear, the ghoul can be explained. I just took my own life, big dick and all. I screamed, help, I'm killing myself, now I'm so hungry. At the mall, they have these dinosaur binoculars, a path to Santa on a sofa, Santa's pussy in stereo. I'm yanking myself to hell. Somebody call my parents. Somebody chop off my baby. What do you call a guy and a guy? Wackos. Liz is just a made-up name. Who's got that Bucci chow? How to Finish a Boat Boy by Dutch Gravy.
Deposit a fly.
Other titles by Dutch Gravy. I Am Butch Garvey by Mr. Beverly Overhead Projector. By Dusk, Drunk and Lewd, the killer would ride a horse for $1. A murderer may live a whole life without murdering. A murderer may murder and live a whole life without being caught. My nose plugs salivate in pain, and now the aroma of a hysterectomy lays siege upon my Bible.
Bigfoot has suddenly arrived.
Buckle up. A sucked dick takes no names. Occasionally it just gets twisted round the old weather vane. I went to the ballet with my killer tonight. We like to walk with feet and feel climate. We smoked a phone book, Yellow Pages. And in another month, we will go blind. High on a hill, we will non-sexually buy a house. First floor for us, curmudgeons, dear Abby, who is in the turret.
How to Teach the Soft Approach by S. Root FAPM.
Kink strips, the unk, the does, the do, q, triple X, bid, the fit, the suit, the two, shit a minor, open an eow, stay and man the ample custard on rare occasions, stump the F and if you have, but maybe strop slam a hogo meal. It's a new idea, bid a slammer, so the hand, the night hand, to the jack, forced gore, and a potential misfit fart suffers a club in unison. You snot, weak 2 Q bids, pass and slam, and you jump the party unless the kitty clearly cards the major. The letter it doubles as if tits the bed be tricked, the right to will, to hang, the heart in Blackwood, impossible to force face and force the singleton pass, to try, to jacks, and off and out part the rubber. Scoring. 102 re-baby less, 22 back sore, T4 knee sideburns, 102 lip sore, 22 S root come sore, come lower, long head 4 or S slam rub sore score, 4 or 2 or jack sore come, 102 or radio, X bed valve 4 valve EL face 2 sore bonus plus shit jump 1 EOC 2 suit 2 cell come sore bum lump 0. 8. Schizo eschatology.
Fancy the Years Blend Bland Fashion Analysis by Hakeem Haddam, leggy reworkings of Tallahassee McBride's Jamboree. Oh, have one of these cheap logo stiffies lifted off a nude trucker from Japan. Hugged his horn, hugged his hogwart. North Carolina, miles away, the production of DVD cases with worms in them. Nah, just kidding. Such a pothead, burgerhead. Also, radiation from prostitutes in Green Bay. The time is nigh for 1 million handicapped girlfriends to be itchy. Ha ha ha, well, throw me out if you don't like my icky spots. Join us for Intercourse, Sunday, March 4th. 7 p.m.
Get Okay, a play in 2 acts.
Act 1, At Rise. Donald Bradleyson is wearing a locking dog collar and has been leashed to the back wall of the kennel. He whimpers softly. Enter a Melkumani warrior. In makeup and feathers. Warrior.
Small snow.
Donald, crossing stage right to bump.
We go where the fun is, to the no-goes. Somewhere out there is where they keep all the holes in me and you and you and me. We go.
Warrior, laughing.
Before Mark Twain was dead for billions of years, before Mark Twain was dead. Then, middle-aged, oily limbus intertwined pendigles, backs arched, pubises jutting.
Donald.
Too bony. Abseiling from bungee noose to gut around the pussy braid, skunk cabbage, and then honey, I'm home. Freedom is a worm burger, piling up around one's intimates with froth and corpse flower worm burgers. The outline remaining from the body sinking into the east is like a fur-like pot, stopped with a pit, and the smegma chalk line is fake, made from lye. For romance, try salad, sweet oils, pimps, fog hats, and where the fat went to make me say, too bony.
Warrior.
Too bony for video.
The kid enters, crushes it. The kid.
Welcome to Threesome City.
Warrior.
Rebecca, 2 bones in our bed, protruding from the side, single, strange, migrant, apple, Kazakh in a sentence.
Act 2, at Rise. We see Jess, Pat, and the seductive foreigner hung and milling, built like a blanched steakhouse, strangled like a Brock topless televised eager beaver, lonesome and phony, made lousy by the loose-fitting tit for dollars kind of fat proviso sans serif under a moonlit tit. Seductive foreigner, and aside.
The tones of story, but no. Second floor sugary invective lettered in pink neon casing light. Sips of paper flickered on the inside of the inside of the inside bed. I know you long to show the world a lonesome and phony skin flick up there. It dissolves into snips. She is ever eluding.
Jess.
To butter up the kitty, get okay.
Pat.
Hoot. My cousin grins. This, they say, is your last strip club before the road turns into a long driveway leading up to the big pink house.
Jess.
If I were you, werewolf, I would come in sippy cups, but since this is the story of no, don't.
Pat.
It's been 2 days since bitch. Bop rock, Cal Jr. days, frock rap and brat rap. Eyes failing, tape, Igor, I said bring me the tape. Norphenexidrine, case of. Limps failing, now tongue, now who bowed. Surprise!
Jess. Pat.
The fresco in the attic has the tongue of a small man. Crips and the American flag, foaming at the head of a frawl. Ape. Groom, I say American Legion.
Jess.
Jungell, Toujet, Misteria, sexat. Is it? Can't devain for this apoplectic fiver, as per Ron.
Seductive foreigner enters, hogtied. Seductive foreigner.
Nobody loots the omnibus quite like Shiva.
Curtain.
Forest and the 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 village 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 the villagers held aloft like a king in a pedal bag, hands out, breastplate, pedal bag, and in it a broken hand.
Over the tanky, botched, chop, jerking, shit, split, jerking a shin, split, jerking a shin, jerking a shin, jerking a shin, jerking a shin, split, jerking a shin, jerking a shin, jerking a shin, jerking a shin, split, jerking a shin, jerking a shin, jerking a shin, jerking a shin, split, jerking a shin, jerking a shin, jerking a shin, jerking a shin, split, jerking a shin, jerking a shin, jerking a shin, jerking a shin, split, jerking a shin,
The philosopher Martin A. Butler warns against procreation. An inheritor of Spinoza, the Enlightenment thinker who viewed all things and creatures as minuscule components of a deified totality called existence, Butler thinks that if we can resist the drive to reproduce, we avert many of the greedy, unthinking behaviors in which human individuals are wont to partake. The problem with humans, he suggests, is that we are guided by our lust for self-preservation as much as our other animals are equal partners in the shared project of existence. Yet we cover up the fact of our animal lust with a host of other fabricated motives for our behavior. Subscription to the will of God, the fantasy of spiritualized love, civic duty. All of these provide us with an illusory purpose to help rationalize the inherently irrational desire to plant seed. If we refrain from doing it, we're less likely to continue lying to ourselves. There's a scene in D.H. Lawrence's 1915 novel, The Rainbow, in which a pregnant woman dances alone by the hearth while her husband watches from the shadows. He knows at that moment that the erotic bond cultivated between them and the exhilaration of absolute privacy has now expired. The magic of her private transformation, unfathomable to the man, is her new love object. In that moment, she is God, swelling like the waxing moon to which she is cathected, readying the muscle memory that is proper to her sex for the upcoming act of squatting to the ground where she'll be buried, setting down upon it her replacement. A TV advertisement for Fiber One cereal inverts Lawrence's transcendent vision of pregnancy. It comprises a montage narrative of a couple progressing through the months of pregnancy, but it is the man whose belly grows, who weathers the prenatal mood swings, while the woman rubs his back and feet and generally acts as supportive as she can. At the end of the montage, they are together in what looks like a hospital waiting room, and the husband waddles in agony over to the bathroom. He emerges with a big grin on his face, 2 thumbs up and a flat belly. I picture him surrounded by a cluster of elders. The shit he has been sheltering in his gut for 9 moons emerges under the filtered light of a morning sun, tumbling over dead leaves and then resting against a mossy stone. Just before the incubation period, he had spent 3 blissful days reclining in bed, his wife spooning helping upon helping of cereal into his mouth. They both knew after several bowls that it had done the trick, but the bone-stirring thrill of implantation, the intoxicating fact that their wild mutual appetites could bring about a tangible outcome reflecting the very shape of themselves, urged them on. It was a potential they wished to protract for as long as possible before resolving in a concrete result.
Written collectively by 2 people who can't stop dogging and dick-picking. This is the heroic story of upsies and downsies, facing illness and death with somber looks like it's been fucked, doesn't it?
Question. Dear reader, I have a huge sacral chakra. What can I do to keep that motor from idling so high? Answer. Behave as a mature does when hosing down an immature against a giant fucking boulder.
Through bored holes accommodating both ingress and regress of white light. So stiff, so stuttering, their innocent balloon skulls aerated for divine cerebral prophecy reception.
No, constantly purring, has no hands, cannot arrive.
Dear diary, it's the limits that set me free. When can I slam the door on the slimy thread wrapped around my clitoris and tied to a silly dick-shaped blimp at the other end? Listen to me drone on and on when all I'm trying to do is probe for feeling on a couch. My finger, with a mind of its own, may have hit bone.
Heading 1, formidable mind helmet. Heading 2, wet pant contest. Heading 3, crippage. Heading 4, Le Panting Babysitter. Heading 5, How Many Wrappings? Heading 6, A Lubricated Doormat.
But the bloom of one's anus is the greatest gift and is equivalent to the size of one's survival rate in the pits. In this series of images, you will learn about the time when things were good, how to hold a U-shaped bar, how to stake the lawn and pitch, 2 Dead and 3, Bloom's New Disaster, Loving That Cis Dick, Sweepin' the Nation.
A sagging mammary wallet, a recalled house of fur, bodies constantly running in and out the door.
If any of the above symptoms persist for more than 30 days, sexual validity. Booger boot / share pussy dick / provide fruit juices / hoover it. Emergency services may be necessary. Cluck fucker covery.
When the skin around the ensemble is stretched enough, it resembles a quarry with a deep cut where water has filled the basin, creating a picture-perfect swimming hole, the bottom too deep to see. Narrow, winding trails surround the cervix of the quarry, some leading to cliffs that teenagers use for diving into the water.
When you do blank, I feel blank.
No real, no chance to live while dead. Just these moments of being fucked, yuck.
And it is all thanks to the TVID Crisis Management CISC program.
Then, manhandled by nominating perverts.
And a song, a ballad of a ginger toot and a demon, available only in prison. The following lyrics identify some of the roots of toots, the who's I'd like to fuck, and the breath practices of Tutti Frutti. I would do a paramedic. I would do a corrections official. I would do a lifeguard. I would do a member of the armed forces. I would do a nurse practitioner. I would do a firefighter. I would do a ski patroller. I would do the men and women who protect our country. Because army people fuck better than any of the other tree-hugging Sir Galahads and Maid Marians and Robin Hoods and Friar Tucks and Winnie the Poohs of the world. Sure enough, this got me fired from the Barnes & Noble.
Now, thanks to the tools provided by the NBA Summer League, I can honestly say I am sorry for the pain I have caused to people who have caused me pain because I have caused them pain, because they were in pain, because I was in pain, because they were in pain because Mommy had a pain in her motor, because Daddy had a pain in his behind, because Granny had a motor in her pain head, because Gramps died from a fire in the hole. By the time the chaplain arrived, the pain had already eaten all the cheese.
It is commonly accepted in the field of traumatology that the hideous waste beak of a dad is no more.
I would rather be degraded than be animal.
Are you doing suicide again?
Assessment. Sitting on his buttocks keeps him continent. It takes 2 helping hands to bring him off. 15-minute break, dying by spirit ascending heavenward while still living, dying by no longer mattering.
When an ironic accumulation of linguists twiddle the tongues of kids too young to know about the catastrophe of being born until they try to dance in the fashion of the exotic elderly and always inevitably find themselves belting out the inscrutable words, "I have fallen," only to gradually discover what falling is supposed to be.
I would do a collie. I would do the wind song's gunnel. I would do a million juice box holes. I would do the sweeping arc of a Swiffer. I would do 5 more pages. I would do an entire nuclear family.
Carnal machinery and the law of primacy.
The feeling something for another, opponent or pattern partner, 3 strong, pass, often referred to as yelp or yippee skippy, is not an exercise in domination. Rather, albeit never, given 2-to-1 odds, prolonged virile crap ends in failure, a category of line of duty death. Neither is it a matter of freedom, but the intensity of living. 3-level super slam, where learners open cheeks and extend limbs between 1 hour and 3 days. In the night, the long, hoarse throat of an alien emotion forms a bric-a-brac around the arc of glands. Excited by the passage from pleasure to springtime, the learners trick the phallic psychic into revealing her hand. A playdate of medieval power bombs. I arose in a field, cut into liquid.
And then my dime store dysphagia will be the death of you. Speech makes us come. You're endlessly listened to. I off which to lie, to lay, the bread, the lie, the land. But now, here hair, between fingers, lips against shoulder, there is enough. Even when there is nothing, there is enough.
bitch. Haha, bitch. Throw me out if you don't. 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 Throw me out if you. 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 Throw me out if you don't. Throw me out if you. Throw me out if you don't. If you don't. Throw me out if you. Throw me out if you. Throw me out if you don't. 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 Throw me out if you don't like my yucky spot, 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 like my yucky spot, my yucky spot, my yucky spots. Join us for intercourse, for intercourse, for intercourse, for intercourse, us for intercourse, join us for us for intercourse, 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 for intercourse, for intercourse, 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 for intercourse, join us for intercourse, for intercourse, for intercourse, intercourse, for intercourse, join us for intercourse, us for intercourse, us for intercourse, join us for intercourse, us for intercourse, us for intercourse, intercourse, us for intercourse, for intercourse, for intercourse, for intercourse, us for intercourse, us for intercourse, for intercourse, for
surrounding his village, 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 his village, and then impregnated them with sulfur. Wood from the forest, surrounding his village, and then impregnated them with sulfur. For a breast collector, there was once a little boy named Daniel, a demon. He fashioned matches out of the pine wood from the forest surrounding his village, and then impregnated them with sulfur. He burned down the forest and the village so that everyone died. Everyone died. The villagers held him responsible, aloft like a king, 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 and aloft like a king, aloft like a king in a palanquin, in a palanquin diaper bag like a king, aloft like a king, aloft like a king, like a king, like a king, king in a like a aloft like a king in a palanquin diaper in a palanquin diaper bag hands that breast pump pedal bag. And admit a broken head over the tanky botched job jerking and
spitnaculation, a rotating genital display with wrangling rats, anti-peeled tomato vat, and tomato vat, and tomato vat, and tomato vat, and tomato vat, tomato vat, tomato vat, tomato vat, and tomato vat, and tomato vat, tomato vat, encrusted vat, and tomato vat, encrusted vat, tomato vat, tomato vat, tomato vat, encrusted vat, encrusted vat, encrusted vat, tomato vat, tomato vat, tomato vat, encrusted vat, tomato vat, tomato vat, tomato vat. Encrusted vat, tomato vat, tomato vat.
Keep the muscles tight, the muscles tight, muscles tight, keep the muscles tight, keep the muscles, keep the muscles, the muscles tighten. On top of the thigh, the thigh, of 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 the thigh, the thigh, of 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 the of the of the of the of the thigh, of the thigh, of the thigh, muscles tighten, the 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 muscles tighten. Compared with the tension in the two smaller muscles, polymorphously, keep the muscles, the muscles, the muscle, the muscles, the muscle, keep the muscles, the muscles, the muscles, keep them, keep them up, keep them, 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 keep them up, keep them up, the muscles, keep the muscles tighten.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Admiral Grey, thank you so much. Beautiful video. And many thanks, Lucas. Many thanks, Rick. Many thanks, Miriam. Thank you so much.
Thank you.